All right, so this is question 15 on the practice test, right? It looks like we have a driver class, an abstract class with an abstract method, right? And we have a class called child who extends or inherits from this abstract class parent, right? So first things first, let's go ahead and verify that child, like that the class child, actually implements this method. Because if it doesn't, I can very easily say that the code's not going to run, right? If it does, then we'll have to do some more investigating within main. So let's go ahead and search for this method within the child class. And we find it right here, right? Public void print no arguments, right? So it's not going to be that easy this time. Let's go ahead and go to main and start running the lines of code, right? I got a parent reference named P. So parent P, and that's going to be assigned to a child object, right? So here's my child object, right? And look, I'm passing in 1 and 2, right? So I'm passing in two integers into this child object, into the child object's constructor rather, right? So I better hope that child has a constructor that takes in two ints. Otherwise, this code crashes, right? Which maybe you want that, but still. Let's go ahead and look at the child class and see if it does have a constructor that takes in two ints. And it does, right? So what are we going to do? Well, first, here's the thing about subclasses or classes that inherit from parent classes, right? Or inherit from anything for that matter, right? There's always in the constructor of the subclass, right? There's always an implicit or explicit. This is up to you, right? But there's always a call to the parent's constructor, right? So in this case, it's going to be implicit since we never actually referred to, you know, super of anything, right? We didn't refer to super and then whatever arguments we wanted. So Java implicitly puts that this line, right? Super with no arguments, right? This is always like the first line of your subclass's constructor, right? Especially if you don't put it like yourself, right? So if you put nothing here, if you don't include the super code here, or I guess like that super keyword, then it's going to do it for you, right? It's going to call the constructor of the parent with no arguments. So let's go ahead and do that, right? So I'm going here and I'm saying, this dot x is equal to 2, regardless of the input. There was no input, right? So x is equal to 2, right? Okay, so now we're done with the parent constructor. Now I'm back to my child constructor. Okay, now we do this dot y is equal to x. Now it's not this x, it's the x that you passed in, right? We passed in 1 for x, so y is actually equal to 1. Wow, y is equal to 1. Okay, so that's this line done. Right now I'm going to do p dot print. Okay, so let's go ahead and look for this print method. But first, let's go ahead and look at parent to see if we have that, right? And we do, in a sense, right? We have the method prototype, but we're basically saying to go to the child to see how the child overrid it, right? So now we're down here in the child, and we see that the child has overridden it because if it didn't, remember the code would have crashed. It would or wouldn't have crashed. It wouldn't even have compiled, right? So we're down here. We see the print method, right? And it's just telling us to print out the value of y. What is the value of y? We determined that it was 1. So we expect that the output of this program is going to be 1. We can go ahead and verify that. And yeah, sure enough, it was 1. I hope this helped.